Hi, my name is Dr. Phil Winiarka. I'm here in the Department of Anthropology at Cleveland State University, and I head the archaeological investigations in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. As you can see, our students are getting ready for field school. They've just been assigned their backpacks and all of the equipment that they'll be using for the field school. They're checking them in, inspecting them, getting a use of, see what they are, and they're getting ready to fold them up so we can start doing some archaeology. This summer marks the 8th straight year for archaeological investigations in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park. This year's field work went high-tech with the use of a complex piece of equipment known as the flux gate gradiometer. The flux gate gradiometer is a relatively new piece of technology that comes to us from the field of geophysics. This piece of equipment is a non-invasive method that detects magnetic anomalies buried deep beneath the soils of the Earth. In other words, this piece of technology can be used to detect buried artifacts, both prehistoric and historic, or cultural features like fire pits, storage pits, or other household activity areas without actually having to dig. This past July, we conducted a geophysics survey of a previously reported prehistoric site, 33 SU 608, located in Boston Township, Summit County, Ohio, located just north of the park's historic Stanford House. The purpose of our investigations was to define the physical or territorial limits of this prehistoric site, to determine its age, and assign cultural affiliation based on the artifacts recovered as a result of our investigations. In addition, our investigations will also provide valuable insights and data to help park personnel aid in their continued assessment and interpretation of the archaeological resources contained within the Cuyahoga Valley National Park.
He said that he wasn't sure.
I hope that. I hope that. Now yet. What'd you guys call them? No.
He's called it site one. He called it site one.
Take the line level, place it in the three orientations of the three legs.
Okay.
So that's actually dead on. That one is way off. our preliminary map, sketching, doing pace and compass, and from that we started shooting the rest of the site in. We've just finished up doing our site boundary, so a big line all the way around a maximum extent of our site. Got about half the trees shot in, and we are about to shoot in the road and some telephone poles. And that should take the rest of the day. Let's see. Really want to be ambitious. So I am going to run out. This machine shoots a laser from right out here to this prism, which then shoots it back, and it measures how long it takes to reflect the laser and back. That's how it gets its distance measurement. And then we've told it how high it is, and so it can also tell how much higher that is when the laser comes back by measuring the angle. We used to have to do this by hand using an algebraic or a trigonomic equation, and it took a lot longer, so this upped us from being able to take maybe 10 points an hour to 50 or 60 data points. And this little machine down here does all the calculating for us, saves us a lot of time. So what we just did was tell it where it's at on our map, and then he went to somewhere else where we knew where it was at, and now it knows where it is from the couple hundred other points that we shot today. So now we're going to proceed to start mapping in new data points.
Back.
Yeah.
The marks. You can't. No, that's not going to work. It's going to be too short over there. You got to bring it back like. Yeah, it's got to be like that. That sounds good. You can change it. You can put it in now. There you go.
Too far back. Menu button to change resolution. Press button twice. Number 2, range button. Change setting from 0.1 to 1.
Yeah, she did that.
Press menu button twice. Take sensor caps off. Hold unit up to your chest or higher in order to zero the machine. Was conducted using a GeoScan Research FM 256 fluxgate gradiometer. Magnetometers work by walking them back and forth along parallel transects while the unit automatically records those readings at a timed interval. At 33 SU 608, the magnetometer was set to collect 8 readings per meter while walking transects at 50 centimeters apart. We surveyed altogether about 4 acres of the site, collecting more than 153,000 readings. See in the geophysical map that we made that there's quite a few magnetic anomalies. Most of these are clustered in red magnetic anomalies, which appear to be modern iron objects of recent age. However, there are still many magnetic anomalies left, whose magnetic signatures may indicate prehistoric cultural features, such as storage pits, fire hearths, that may be of interest for excavation. Site, we have a big spikes
yeah,
there,
you've got huge spikes in the middle.
and they're over probably 2 meters long. So it could be they could be roasting ovens, fire hearths, something along those lines. One of the other things that's kind of interesting when you look at the data in sort of grayscale, this is in 20-meter grids, so you can see all the grids. Here's this plain grade scale.
Oh, well, look at this.
See the shadow?
Yeah.
It almost looks like
like
there's an earthwork.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. It comes exactly.
Right, but it stops here and it doesn't pick up in there.
But it seems.
Well, I'd say that it's going better this week than it did last week. We're now total 1 week in the field, and last week it started off a little slow, just trying to get used to the flux gate and learn how to read the software. And now it's going a lot smoother, and should be able to break some soil here near the end of the week and get some test units in and see if our readings are coming out correctly, and if we can find anything interesting here. But I think that it's good. It's going well. It's a slow process, but eventually it will come together, I think, and hopefully produce some cool artifact findings. So yeah, I think it's going really well.
Yeah, I don't know why.
When I was at the bar.
Are you curving it? What they're going to do here is they're going to lay out a 1 meter by 1 meter grid over a known feature. This is going to be test unit 1. We know from the fluxgate gradiometer survey that there's a potential fire pit right here. So you're going to have to help them hold it on. So basically the hypotenuse of a 1 meter by 1 meter test unit is 1.414. So he's going to be mapping 1.414 with the corners, and you need 2 stakes to put in yet. So you need your gutter spikes. You need 4 gutter spikes.
I got him.
Awesome that you guys are digging here. It's always exciting anytime we find something new in the park. It's good for us to know what resources we have to protect. If we don't know it's there, it's hard for us to protect it. I think it's beneficial for the park to show that, you know, it's more than just a towpath to bike on. It's a very important historical, cultural park, and people who have lived in the valley for generations, it's, I think, exciting for them to know what they've been living on top of.
Jesus. Come on.
Hey guys.
The bottom
Hey.
one.
3-3 dark brown.
Yeah.
We broke
yes.
ground finally.
I would
What do you
agree
think
with that.
one?
Oh boy, are they
Right,
close.
they're close.
Yeah,
It's
dogs
either
run
3-3
around
or
and-
4-3.
Pretty solid, but we'll get there.
Right.
Your site numbers.
Yeah,
Today's the
30
28th, right?
Site number 33 SU 608, right?
Yeah.
608. All right.
Okay, your
Horizontal location?
horizontal location is test unit 2, TU2, north 497 to 498,
Okay.
east 569 to 570.
Okay.
So then you're going to put a datum. After you've roped off you're going to bring this unit this way,
Yeah.
and on northwest corner you're going to put in a string on it, about 6 inches or 6 centimeters up off the ground, for your datum with the line level. So that's
Okay.
everything. Measurements will be from there. This is your feature. You guys have a red with a white reflexive right after it. This is one of those units that Lewis said that looks very promising. So you guys should be like right there in this unit. So hopefully it's right there. Okay?
Okay.
With any luck, we'll see something there.
Cool.
So red should show some sort of burning, and the white should show the magnetic low. So I'm hopeful that that's what we're going to have here. This is test unit 1. And the reason we excavated in this area was because we had a strong magnetic anomaly appear as a result of the magnetometer survey. It seemed to indicate that we were going to excavate a fired earthen feature. Typically, these earthen features are fire pits, but when we excavated this particular earthen feature, it turned out to be a section of 19th century terracotta drain tile, something we really weren't expecting to see here. This is test unit 2, and it's located on the south end of the site. We chose to excavate this area because the magnetic readings seem to indicate a large magnetic anomaly. And after excavations, we realized that the magnetic anomaly was a 7-inch modern iron spike. And also we found lots of traces of iron oxide in the subsoils of this unit. So the magnetometer picked it up. Again, proving the importance of ground truthing in geophysics surveys.
It's probably used on a...
Got a date on it? It's got numbers on the head?
I don't think it's railroad. It was probably used in a really old structure that has not been recorded here because there is no recording of any kind of structure on this property.
This building looks building material.
You gotta clear this off a little bit, but this looks like it's got mortar on it.
You think that one stud gave that big red readout on that?
Yeah. It's ferrous metal.
That's
Yeah.
huge.
It looked like a...
Look at that thing. That's huge.
Yeah, it's a ferrous metal for sure. That thing's gonna make the flex gate spike. Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna have to wait till
This is test unit 3, and it was one of the most interesting anomalies excavated during the summer's work here at 33 SU 608. The magnetometer data revealed a 2-meter wide circular pit feature. When fully excavated, we located a fire hearth feature located approximately 90 centimeters below surface. The feature produced about 18 pounds of fire-cracked rock and quite a bit of charcoal. Debitage is a piece of wasting material from making a projectile point. In order to make a projectile point, it takes about 10,000 strikes from a core. So you're looking at the first piece of prehistoric material we found in this test unit. Too bad it's not diagnostic, it just tells us that we're on course. Prehistoric people were here, and here's another piece.
Oh, cool.
I think, or something. No, it's just charcoal. Okay. So we know that prehistoric people were here.
Is this something?
Cleaned it off. That's a nice chunk.
Yes.
For the love of God, you aren't joking, are you? He's
No.
not. Okay, good.
Anybody have any water we can spare?
Yeah, right here.
Yes. It's sitting right in these black
This
stains.
was my last drop of water.
It is not.
I'm just saying, if it was, it'd still be going on this thing.
What about that piece of debitage, man? I feel slighted
You
now.
should. Debitage just got pushed to the side. Dude.
Oh, wow.
Let me get a little more clean. I'll throw a little more water on it.
I do that.
Ooh, this is early. It's red. It's been superheated.
Oh, it's cord marked, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly cord mark.
Yeah, it is.
Early woodland or early like
If it's early woodland.
later for the parking lot?
Now we need Now we need.
Like how early you think?
I don't know. We need some charcoal. Look at that.
Cool.
Look how rough that is. There's temper and it's
Yeah, you
grit
can see the temper.
It's only part of a sherd. See, the back side of it is missing. So this is just the outer surface. We need to find more of it. It was laying. It was laying like this. So you guys need to really look at. Well, I'm sure you're going to see it. Just don't destroy any more of it in the screen. So what I would say with this is great. This is finally. Thank you. Right?
Archaeology gods.
So finally. But perhaps the most interesting objects found were the 19 pieces of cord mark Middle Woodland period pottery that dates between 100 BC and 400 AD, including this really nice, finely decorated rim sherd.
I want to know what
Where's
this is.
where's the tinfoil?
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
just
the
saw
tinfoil's
charcoal
right there.
too. Watch
Open
your
it.
fingers.
Make sure you don't. And last time I had my camera pointed at you, you looked at me and turned around.
Pottery!
Yeah, nice chunk of charcoal.
It's not what I thought it
On
was.
the last screen, we had a nice piece of debitage. And the screen before
Right
that, we had a
there,
piece
right
of
there.
shell. This looks
Still
like
down
more
there.
shell. Right here.
Right there.
It's
That was
just, a
right
fleck.
there.
It's just a fleck. I need more than a fleck. Test Unit 4 was the last of the test units excavated this summer, and we chose to dig here based on the signature of another magnetic anomaly that looked like a circular pit feature. We did find the circular pit feature, and it produced really nice soils. However, the pit failed to yield any artifacts. It was basically clean, so we don't really know the purpose of it other than the fact that we did able to get some charcoal from it, so we'll be able to use to date. But the feature was essentially sterile, unfortunately.
Oh,
That's something.
okay, cool, cool. Yeah, nice piece coming out.
Archaeological Site 33 SU 608 appears to be a middle woodland site located within Boston Township here in Summit County, Ohio. The site was first reported by MWAC archaeologists in 2014 during a Phase 1 testing of the site. Artifacts recovered from those investigations included a small scatter of prehistoric lithics and pottery of uncertain age or cultural affiliation. Because the site lies less than 100 meters north of Site 33 SU 138, a site known as the location of Ohio's oldest pottery at 950 BC, led MWAC archaeologists to recommend that further evaluative testing be completed at this site. And based on the artifact assemblage that we recovered this year, the site is potentially eligible for placement on the National Register of Historic Places under Criterion D, because it has the potential to yield additional data concerning the prehistoric activities in the Cuyahoga Valley. Our confirmation of this Middle Woodland period date remains tentative while we await the return of radiocarbon dates. Charcoal and flotation samples collected in the field from these prehistoric pit features are just now being sent out for paleobotanical analysis too. Together, these analyses should provide enough critical data to determine the site's age and assign cultural affiliation and association, as well as tell us a bit more about the indigenous population living in this area of the Cuyahoga Valley.